So, welcome. And I'll explain what this is later, but I find that shortly, actually, but I find real life to frequently be as engaging as the most interesting movie I've ever seen. And movies have dramatic fictional twists where very strange and extreme things happen. But I find like sitting around and examining my or preferably another person's life in great detail to be way more fascinating than what I can watch um, in visual art in movies and television. And I love movies and television. And so getting around and talking and talking about stuff over the winter uh, seems like an important and engaging thing for me to do. And it seems like it's going to be hard to do it naturally. Because when I'm on stage, like performing in a play, I've been doing that since I was 6 years old. It started out in the name of religion, but I've been doing it since I was 6 years old. And that comes really naturally to me. But when you turn on a device that records you, namely a camera, because I'm a great theater actor, a shitty movie actor, but I'm working on it. It seizes me up a little, which seems aboriginal in a way. Like, what I mean? Like, you take a picture, it captures my soul a little bit. Like, I think there's a really old part of me that feels like, you hit the record button and something's going to be a little off. But I still am really intrigued by the fact that things get to be around forever now. I mean, unless the landscape of the world drastically changes because of catastrophe, all of these pictures and images and recordings that are happening are going to be around forever. And I find it akashic, to coin a phrase. And so I'm doing a podcast over the winter. And this is the second episode. And the first one is, it's out there if you dig. But this is more diggable because I have someone who knows what he's doing, producing the thing. My name is Jabari.
Hello, Gabe Shames here. Coming at you also from Beantown.
Yeah, Boston. I knew it. I knew it a couple of years ago. I was like, my next project will be launched in Boston. And I take my time doing things because it took a couple of years. But I was in Northern California, and people were talking to me about moving to Boston, and I was thinking a lot about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Jon Favreau and just a ton of people. Kevin Smith comes through Boston. That's irrelevant, but I tie everything to Kevin Smith because he's kind of my mentor, unbeknownst to him. So this is ChatmanBooth. This is the podcast. This is the second one anyway. And
welcome.
Thank you for listening. Some people find. A lot of people, I suppose, by what I see when I'm on an airplane, find the takeoff process to be a bit unnerving. I think more people find landing to be unnerving, but during the takeoff process, more people are visibly uncomfortable.
Yes.
And it's the same way with a lot of projects. Like, at the point that I've done 60 of these or 100 of these, like, I'll be boop, 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 I'll be... That's my finger on the keyboard noise.
So good to clarify.
Yeah, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I'll do that automatically and instantaneously, and I'll even know what it's called. But for now, we're going to call it boop, 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 boop. But this is the takeoff process, is my point. And so it might be a little rocky, but come on, once that plane's up in the air, man, the view is good. Possible. And anything's possible. So how would you describe the process of getting me to this point? Because it took 40 minutes. conservatively by my calculations before
yeah.
I actually permitted you to hit the record button. And in that 40 minutes where you were trying to just show me how to
open it and create a project, yes.
40 minutes, and I still don't know.
You'll remember it. I actually have faith that you'll remember it because I saw you comprehending each step. Good student there.
Did you see that? I did not feel that.
I mean, it's true. We had a rocky start because I had to describe it as the main thing with the stuff.
That was how you started off. I was like, okay, how do you record a podcast? And you're like,
you have to get back to the main thing.
Go to the main thing.
And then you'll find out
where the stuff is, where his opening instructions. And so I took the Lord's name in vain. And we started over a bunch. But don't get me wrong. I was 50-50 in it because I thought that the main thing, I asked him to put it in layman's terms. It's like, wait a minute, you got to make it simpler than the main thing.
Yes.
Stuff is. It's like, no, I'm not an engineer, man. So, but we're here now. Coming at you from Beantown. Union Square.
Union Square.
Union Square. I'm constantly telling people in my life, I live in Union Square. I'm in a place called Union, which is one of my favorite words. It's one of my favorite concepts. They had to fight a war over the damn thing. I'm a fan of Union. Oh man, what do you want to talk about?
To that, yeah.
The weather?
Yeah, it's raining again. It's interesting. Like it has become winter like quicker than we expected.
It's not winter,
but it's not winter because it's not winter for many reasons, really.
Well,
and
calendarically,
I know. Maybe that has to be a term around here
no,
because there are things that we're used to in the calendar, but there are other things that New Englanders are used to.
No, but calendarically,
yes.
No. Let me finish.
Calendar.
According to the calendar, it is not winter yet, and so and it's not cold enough to be called winter. Although there have been some very cold days, it's not winter. And
there's been snow with our rain.
Like there's an official winter start date, and every human being should know it, and I don't. But it's next month. Someone will be like, "Oh, it's winter." I know when the winter solstice is. That's way more important to me. But officially, it'll turn winter. But right now, it's fall. It's autumn.
Right.
And when I write people notes, which I do frequently, and then I put a little tulip next to it in the sun, I put Happy Autumn. And when it's winter, I'll start writing Happy Winter. However, I like it when young people talk about the weather. Because I grew up in South Dakota, and you talk about the weather a lot when you're in a place where your very livelihood depends on what the weather's going to do. And so when I moved to California and people talk about the weather less, it bothered me, and I would bring it up in front of young people. And now that I'm out here in Boston,
the same concept of.
Now that I'm out here in Boston, I want you to respond to this after I finish it. Now that I'm out here in Boston, I hate to be pushy, but I'm the host. I get to be. Now that I'm in Boston, I find that I don't have to bring up the weather as much. People bring it up, and I think it's because there's climate shifts here, and where I live in California, there weren't a lot of climate shifts. The weather did just a couple of things. They were wonderful, but here, like, it gets cold for months, and so I'm back living with the seasons, and I'm really enjoying listening to young people talk about the weather and how it affects their clothes and their lives and their feelings, or just talking about what it does. I'll go to one of my jobs, and we'll be looking out the window, and we're just chatting about the weather, and it makes me so happy. A part of my brain is devoted to being like, it's not just older people that do this, and it makes me happy.
That's great.
So, talk about the weather. Let's talk about the weather. What's it doing?
Let's talk about the weather, yeah. So, yeah, no, that's great and awesome. I think that, I guess I haven't had ways to describe it, but I think that there are ways that it changes young people and people able to do it. Whereas in California,
where we were in California,
I was about to say, yeah.
All 4 seasons.
So where we were, it was very. I'm glad to talk about it. And I'm glad that it's raining. That it's raining so much. We talked about this last winter, or no, on
No,
summer.
we talked. Yeah,
in summer we talked about this because
we wanted the weather to be like this fall. We had a conversation about it.
We did,
and I said that I wanted. I think I said I wasn't sure what I wanted from the temperature, but that I wanted a lot of moisture from the air, a lot of rain.
And I said I wanted a bit warm enough fall that people would consider it a very long fall.
And both of those things, I think, have happened. It took a while for the rain to come, but both of those things have happened.
Yeah, exactly. The rain feels very new now, and it's already, it's already almost Thanksgiving.
But the air is, you're right. You're right. A couple of things that I'm happy about the weather. No, one thing I'm unhappy about and one thing I'm happy about. I'm unhappy that it got so dry so fast, like compared to the summer and it being more humid around here, because just like when I was a kid and everything dried out, my nose would bleed more, and like I said, experiencing those things right now. So I have on my heater a bowl of water, and I use it also for sacred purposes. And so it humidifies the air in my room. And I often come in here in the home that I live in, and the room that I sleep in is the most comfortable, and it's because it has a little moisture in the air. It's one of many reasons, but it's one physical reason. So that's the downside, is that it's so dry. And the upside, which was in my brain, but we got all upset talking about the downside. I can no longer remember.
So that is a tragic thing, Jabari. And I think it happens a lot.
Yeah, well, sometimes you fall into a pothole.
We know about that here in New England, too.
So we've talked about, in our conversations in the past, you were the one who taught me the concept from that dude who was like, nature gives you the colors that you need. And mostly we're surrounded by the color green. And so that's the light that the plant doesn't use.
Right.
And so that's the light it reflects. But since everything is one, and since everything is one, I'm not even going to use the word symbiosis because that sounds gross. Like, they don't need the color green, but we do. Right. And so we're surrounded by the color green.
Right.
We need it a lot. However, at times of the year, that color goes away. And during that, if you want to call it a transition, if you're in a place like this, you see red, you see yellow, you see orange, and all of a sudden nature just starts giving off all these colors. And I keep thinking to myself, as a spiritual man, that I need a rush of those colors to survive the winter. And that color is going to stay with me. And so I love the color of fallen leaves. I don't like it in my home, which is why I sleep my porch. Yeah. But when I'm on walks and looking out windows, I love the colors of fall. And I think that was what I had forgotten as far as my high is concerned. I like how colorful it gets in the fall. And I find it reassuring. We're coming back. We're coming back. Like I hear all the plants say that. We're coming back. Don't worry, we're coming back. We're not going for good.
Maybe they literally have been trying to tell us that for a long time.
Yeah.
And like we used to know it, but I think they sense that in our modern days we actually do not know. And they're trying to tell us to calm down.
So when you talk about the weather, you end up talking about nature, and nature is, it's just about my favorite subject. Just about my favorite subject. Not my very favorite subject. That's dirtier.
Yes. Don't love it.
It's just before Thanksgiving in 2014, the year of the horse, and for all accounts are saying that in this area, and a lot of areas have had snow, but this area, although it has snow, we have not had snow.
not had snow.
And
when Detroit has had it, when
Detroit's had it, South Dakota's
cities
had it.
have had it, yeah. When
Buffalo just got just south of us got
New
5
York.
feet of snow.
New York is south of us.
They stopped the football game. They canceled the football game because there's so much snow, and people love playing football in the snow. It looks awesome, but the snow can't be as tall as you are. As a gymnast, so they canceled the game. But here it hasn't snowed. But all accounts say that on Thanksgiving it will snow here, and the snow will stick. And I think that's going to be pretty, and I'm looking forward to it. And I will officially announce what I want for winter weather. Because it's important to say these things, because you get what you think about. I want a snowy, but not super cold winter. I think snow's pretty. It can be very inconvenient, but it's really pretty. But last winter, and I've had 2 men in their between 70s and 80s at bus stops strike up conversations with me during the spring and summer. 2 old men at bus stops were like, last winter, let me tell you something, son. I certainly love talking about the weather with people that are older than me. Both of these men, one was at Porter Square and one was at the shopping center, and one was in the Union Square bus stop. And these 2 guys were like, it was the worst winter of my life. I've lived all of the winters of my life in Boston, and that was the worst one. They find out I just moved here and they want to reassure me. It's a very comforting thing, actually, that these guys are talking about the weather, because I was like, holy shit, that was awful. And I don't want to do it again. And these elders, these old men are like, hey, son, that was the worst one. And I find that reassuring. And then they talk about winters. One of them brought up a winter in 1960-something, and he was like, it never got cold. And I was just salivating. I was like, things were really hard for black people and gay people back then, but put me in a time machine, because I will not do another winter like last winter. I won't do it.
Oh, it's true though. I had such a negative.
Keep talking.
I had such a negative opinion of winter when I was moving out here, because I was so afraid of it. But I had my first winter here, and even though that was bad for me, like I got struck down with flu because I wasn't used to it. But like overall, that was like a very fun winter.
Yeah, you're so optimistic.
I realized it later. That it was like
fun. What the hell is wrong with you? Wearing long johns,
I hate.
No, I love
layers,
long johns.
No,
they're
layers
helpful.
I can't stand. But
and if you're in your room and you're dressed in long johns, it's sexy. But being outside last winter, wearing long johns, wearing a kind of coat the military gives its people, and still being frozen to my balls was not fun. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I should clarify, my balls have been frozen.
Great sentence. Put it on your tombstone. I love writing epitaphs. It's morbid, but I love doing it. My balls. Had I died last winter, my epitaph would have read, my balls were frozen. I'm out.
To clarify, my balls have been frozen. But yeah, so during those times, there's no way in hell I would ever see it as fun. And I did get to see how much it takes to survive in the winter sometimes.
I'll admit you're right, and that's why I like to remind myself and other people that out of all bad comes some good. It's the nature of the universe. it arcs towards love and justice, and slavery is definitely illegal in this universe. So you'll have to suffer if you make people go through those things. But out of all bad comes some good. So I'm a bit of a pessimist, I guess, because when I think about last winter, I only think about my frozen balls. But when you after you brave the cold and you end up where you're going, something good happens. So I would loathe having to get on that damn bus or take that damn walk to go over to your sister's. But then we get to your sister's, and there would be a pretty Christmas tree or a turkey, or it'll be all things related to food and nice flowers. They have flowers up in the winter. I don't know where women buy flowers in the winter. I don't even know such thing is possible. But for some reason, they produce flowers in the winter.
They have ways.
And these women know how to put them in their homes, and they get their homes all pretty. And it would be worth it. What was the holiday where I was sick as a dog, but I still went to that damn holiday party? The little girl was there and whatnot, right? Or maybe
was
not.
this a holiday party in Humboldt County?
No, it was last winter in Boston. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas at your sister's, and I was sick as a dog.
It was probably Thanksgiving then.
I think it was Christmas.
Anyway,
but in either case, I just can't. It's still
Thanksgiving or vague.
Oh, I'm not used to Thanksgivings, mind you. I mean, I grew up in a Christian household, but it wasn't a Christian household that celebrated holidays. They weren't important to my mother, and so, or to my religion at the time, and so we didn't celebrate that stuff. But I watched a lot of movies about it and about holiday strife. The best movie about holiday strife is Home Alone. And then there are other movies about holiday strife. Home for the Holidays is the only one that comes to mind for some ridiculous reason. But Silver Linings Playbook, I think a lot of that takes place. But I'm not sure. I don't remember.
No, I was gonna say Christmas with the Crumps. No, not that one actually.
No, that's cool.
But maybe Christmas with the Crumps. But no, actually, I was gonna say the one where they try and skip out on Christmas entirely.
Oh,
There's a new movie with and I think it's like one of the really funny. I want to say even Jamie Lee Curtis is the mom, but
that would be awesome.
A really funny lady.
Can't go wrong with Jamie Lee Curtis.
But a really funny lady that's in her style is it's probably her.
Something's got to give. I mean, I know all of the movie titles I'm saying make it seem like I'm a 70-year-old man, but don't worry about that.
Yeah. The point being,
it's a good subject.
Yeah. They try and skip out on Christmas entirely because holiday strife and commercialism, but they end up being roped back into it. Their family actually is.
Well, I'm conflicted because long before Christmas, I planned to take all of the people that I work with, which is a considerable number of people, and I had a particular gift that I wanted to give each of them. It's the same. I'm making it simple because I tried to give one year when I started celebrating Christmas. I tried to give everyone I knew a unique gift, and it drove me insane. I still have not recovered. I shall never recover from that Christmas. And so I don't know how people do it because it's very stressful. But this year I was like, I have one thing, and it's plant and nature related, that I want to get to all of these people, and they all need it. We all need it, and unless someone's very specifically allergic to this thing, which I'll put in the note, everyone gets it. But I thought I was going to get everyone a lot of it, and now that it's approaching, I'm like, oh, I can't afford that. So I would have to figure out a way to get everybody a little bit of it, and then just be like, this is going to have to be good enough. I thought about you. You son of a bastard. I like you, and that's why I'm giving you this. Or love you, and that's why I'm giving you this, yada, yada, yada. But they can be stressful, and so holidays. And so you mentioned us getting drunk on Thanksgiving, and I remember that, and I remember part of the reason was because we have celebrated most of our Thanksgivings apart with our own people. And I have friends that get together with just their friends and not family, and that's how I have celebrated most of my Thanksgivings. And then we watch movies about stressful family Thanksgivings and are like, oh, thank God we're together. like that New Girl episode.
Yeah.
Or Thanksgiving in that movie.
That sounds very New Girl.
Thanksgiving in that movie, Funny People. That was an amazing Thanksgiving. But I am nervous about getting together with family for all sorts of reasons, and so I was like, I'm gonna get drunk for the first holiday. The second holiday I didn't. But the first holiday I was like, I'm getting drunk for this, so that's my announcement. We talked about it, and we went there and we got drunk. We had a hell of a time. But sober, it would have been a lot more stressful.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point. I feel like the holidays do mean something because the family thing is both like reconnecting and putting up with each other's shit.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know why anyone ever does it. I stay as far away from my family as possible.
Says the guy who can stay away from his family.
We're in very regular contact. The text messages, the Facebook messages. I know we're distant.
Keeps the email distance from his family.
We're not.
I understand that.
I know that it's not normal, but it's so easy.
Yes.
To just talk to my brother online and instead of fly out there and hang out. Christ.
It's important.
It is important, and I want to do more of it. But I
think the distance thing is also very important too.
Certain amount of it. It's some of it's selfishness, and then some of it's spiritual adventurism. But I
was gonna say spiritual enrichment.
And enrichment. Yes. Obviously, it's about protecting myself, and psychologically, the next thing I'm about to say, I may very well have created just to explain away what you're saying. However, newness has always appealed to me, and from the time I was a boy, I wandered off. And my mother was always looking for me and was often afraid because I was just like, what's going on over there? Who can I talk to over there? Does something exist over there? So, these questions would enter my mind, and I would wait until she was distracted by someone talking to her, and I would quietly back away and walk off and do whatever the hell I wanted. And it's that way still. And so I'm like, I'll send you postcards from the frontier. I'm always shouting back to my family, but to my best of my knowledge, none of us have ever lived over here. So I'm gonna try it.
You're a wanderer. You're a diplomat in New England.
Wanderlust. Thank you for saying that. Nina Simone. Why the wine of wanderlust? A few more lonesome cities. Nina Simone does a cover of a few more lonesome cities, and I listened to that song as a boy. I think my mom bought the album when I was 13, 14, 12, something like that. And there's this song where she sings about there's a few more lonesome cities. It's a song, but I like her cover of it the best.
Right.
A few more lonesome cities that I'd like to see while the wine of wanderlust, what an expression, is still inside of me. Not me. Nope. Still inside of me. There's a few more handsome men that I'd like to know. Just a few more handsome men. So round the road I'll go, something like that, which spoke to young Jamie, definitely. It's a hell of a song. And it's a song about travelers. And some people are and some people aren't. And I'm certainly a traveler. However, I can see the benefit of not being a traveler. My brother has fruit trees in his backyard right now. You don't get a lot of fruit trees when you move. But that can be handled, I'm sure. I don't know why I'm doing all of the talking, and I feel so pushy. What do you want to talk about? It's starting to snow, by the way. At times, outside the window, it's not rain, but it's snow or sleet.
I was going to say, we had snow with our rain about 2 weeks ago, and so now we're apparently starting again and trying to look out the window. But I feel like that's the crazy thing, is that it can do both of these things at once, weather-wise. As it really gets going in the next few days, it's going to be both rain and snow at once, and then it's going to be a lot of snow over all night, one night.
I find it interesting. That is definitely interesting. sometimes I feel exhilarated, and sometimes I feel disappointed when I wake up and the weather has completely changed and I didn't get to witness the change. It's also interesting to not be in control of something. However, I think we're somewhat in control of the weather. Conspiracy theorists that are more conspiracy theoretical than me think that there are people that really control the weather. And it was always in the back of my mind, save as a sort of crazy thing, thinking about weather control, save two things. Star Trek talks about controlling the weather to help people's lives.
Yeah.
They talk about it in peaceful ways, and then when there's an episode where where AQ messes up Earth's weather grid and uses a tornado to kill someone. And they were like, this tornado only killed 2 people, and we don't have tornadoes. So that's weird. Something omniscient or omnipotent did that to it.
Yeah. Wow.
And then the other weather thing that comes to mind is I listened, the speech of President Kennedy's that I listened to the most is his address to the UN after someone died, Secretary General or somebody. And he talks about a ton of stuff happening in the world at that time. And so it's fascinating. But he also mentions wanting to make advancements in weather control. President Kennedy in a speech to the United Nations in the 60s.
Really?
So that's to make people's lives better. Was when Gene Roddenberry started talking about it. And so these men are these people, humans, excuse me, because it's men and women talking about it, children too now, because I'm talking about it, believe that we can prevent bad weather and that we should make strides towards it. And I agree. And I'm not talking about stopping winter. I'm talking about
we can avoid cataclysms, but I'm not in favor of stopping winter.
And certainly there's an art. Yeah, I mean, and I've not.
And it wouldn't work.
Nor could we.
Yeah, if we tried to stop winter, it would not work.
We'd be changing solar system. Yeah. So I'm talking about doing things like
it wouldn't work. We'd have
tornadoes.
We'd have a winter come back on us like we've never seen.
Well, and that's the other thing. There are certainly more people that are not saying what we're saying, that are saying you can't. I mean, we're speeding up some of the changes that are happening to this climate, but this is a planet in a Wild West kind of galaxy where shit explodes and there are cataclysms all the time and just stuff getting sucked into other stuff. It sounds like a sex life. Now that I talk about it. So
well, anyway.
You're talking about controlling something that's out of control, but right. I don't live in a universe. I don't live in a universe where I think about cataclysms. I live in a universe where I think about Star Trek. Right. So, and President Kennedy. Yes. And so I say, let's go for it. Damn the torpedoes.
It's comforting, though, that you feel this to be used for a progressive cause, that it could be in tune with things that people need of Earth and not out of tune with, completely out of tune with what Earth needs.
Progressive is not a curse word. Progressive is not a curse word.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I know
I'm
you
not
didn't.
Talking politically. Like, I'm talking...
Oh, you're not? What? I never hear the word progressive and don't think of politics, unless I think of that car insurance company. And I used to like that woman, but they just play her so much. The one that looks like Joan Cusack's younger sister. She's Joan Cusack's younger sister or daughter, and they just play her so much that now I find her annoying. Well, she has a name, she has websites devoted to her, and she's as an actress, I hope she's ka-ching, and I hope she's really happy with it.
Yeah.
But I've seen...
Point being.
I have no point. Progressive. Oh yeah, that's the only other time I think of the word progressive. Sorry about that rant. That was an old man rant. None of it was true. It was all satirical.
Point being.
When I hear the word progressive, I only think of politics. How can you say the word progressive and not think of politics? Because I'm trying to understand you.
I actually lost why. Maybe the weather is progressive.
How can you hear the word progressive? Do you know, or you don't remember your answer?
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
Point being,
yeah.
what? Oh, I think I was saying progressive particularly. Point being,
Climate change.
Climate change. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that people really have to understand is that I feel that this is all very complicated, and yet it doesn't mean that there's not a underlying root problem that is completely perpetuating all of this.
Well, perpetuating, not a word. Back up.
Perpetuating
all of it. It can be a word. We make them up all the time.
But yes, it's anything that's weird and unexplained, like people did, well, that was unexplained, so it can't be due to climate change. No, actually, it can be exactly due to climate change. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. And so this is a big, weird thing, but unfortunately I have to talk about the birds falling out of the sky.
Oh God, I hate that subject. It's so morbid, and I don't understand it at all. But I know there's a reason for it, and I probably won't find it pleasant.
I know there's a reason too, and I don't know exactly what it is either. But the only thing I can get to about that is that what I just said, there can be completely unexplained events, especially when you're talking about biological creatures. It can be a completely unexplained event that we can't see with our eyes, the connection to it. Yet it is, and yet it will. These creatures are attuned to something else that we don't understand, and they will pick up on it or die from it. Apparently,
we don't understand it, but we are a part of it.
Well, we're making it too. We don't understand it, but we're also responsible. In a way.
I agree with you, and I look at the more progressive places in the world. I look at, I need to go over there and check it out, but in Western Europe, there are many places where they will not let children live next to power grids, electric power grids, those extremely large metal, the word isn't coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
But those power grids, now here we don't mind in most places if you build houses around that shit.
Yeah.
But there are progressive places in Western Europe where they won't let children be raised around that much energy because they don't think it's healthy for them physically or mentally. For security reasons and for the same reasons that I just mentioned, people's health and safety, there are also places over there where they bury their power grid. Mm-hmm. And the president mentioned that, I think, in one of his inaugural, or not inaugural, but I think when he won, when he won one of his elections, I think he mentioned wanting to put more of American electricity underground. Either he mentioned it or I dreamed he mentioned it. I don't remember. But I think about that a lot of times, when I look at kids up here right next to power lines, it bothers me. So I think it's progressive to control where you put your energy.
Yes.
How you get it, obviously.
How you get it is also one of the hugest problems.
But I wonder sometimes if the reason why birds fall out of the sky is way simpler than the people that normally talk about it.
Right.
That I listen to talk about it say some pretty wild theories as to why it's happening, and I kind of want to, dial it back and figure something else. But I also figure something else out. But I also am not. People study it exhaustively and have no idea why it's happening. They speculate, but really no one knows.
Right, exactly. But I mean, that's the problem. We might not know, and we shouldn't have to know. We shouldn't have to know it, because if it's completely abnormal that has happened just in the last few years, then we are doing it. We shouldn't have to know what it is. We should clean up water. We should get power grids in responsible places. So I'm trying to figure out whether that means underground, but yes.
Yeah, I think about that too.
But we should get in responsible places. We should do what if we do have valid evidence that there's radiation attached to cell phones and other such things, then we should figure it out.
Yeah, and that's a tough one because I need that damn thing. That little umbilical cord.
We all do.
At worst, it's umbilical cord. At best, it's a tricorder. My smartphone has vastly improved the quality of my life. I don't have to wait for buses. I can know when they're coming and time when I'm going to leave.
That's important.
Because
of
my tricorder, and that saves me a buttload of time. And I like buttloads.
Let's steer the ship another way. Let's steer the ship out of
the buttload. Gladly. But I think I see enough extremism in control of society. Most people are decent. Most people don't think money should be the reason for doing everything. Just the people that control government do. The people that control government do. Think that everything's about money. But when it's not about money, you don't need. I find you don't need to explain yourself as much. So I'm not. We're going to understand cancer in a way that I had never dreamed about by the time that I'm an old man. We're making those strides, but right now we do know that if you don't dump a lot of carcinogens and processed meat in your body, you get cancer less. And if you eat more vegetables, if you eat more vegetables, you get cancer less.
Grains and stuff.
Yeah, so we don't understand cancer by any stretch of the imagination, but we're going to. But we do know that there are ways to avoid it. And so I'm always looking at that Star Trek future where we're going to have some problems, but cancer won't be one of them. And I think, and it's one reason why I think about President Kennedy a lot and other visionaries. Like, look at where we're going. This is where because our own president right now is a visionary.
He is. And let's talk about actually why there is such a backlash and why they've almost succeeded in a little more than half the country to make this a bad taste. This whole progressive movement, whole era of bad taste.
Or let's not talk about it, because I want to be more optimistic.
Yeah,
that's my point. And so if I look at the big picture, someone has to say it before people get around to doing it. And so, although I'm very upset that everything isn't changing right now, and that there are a lot of people suffering because there's a lot of misappropriation of energy and funds, and everyone's pretending like it's not a huge problem, I can focus on that, or I can focus on the fact that the, in quotes, leader of the free world is saying this needs to change.
Right.
So it's going to change. When the most important people around us are consistently talking about changing some big problems, they're going to change. They are not going to change right now.
Yep.
But that's a step in change. Is just shouting in people's faces, this is wrong.
Right.
There are people dying right now because their skin is darker in this country. And I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it.
You talked about it.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and we have to start naming it. I'm not going to talk about that particular instance, but we have to start naming it.
Yes. I feel the same way, and so I am glad that these are naming it. And let me tell you, I've got the same fears I have about the U.S. are the same fears that I have about China, and yet. And there's much more human rights abuse there. But yes, environmentally, we did make a huge, ginormous step.
I haven't learned a lot about it, but it is a big accord, and it feels like it's going to be in history books.
Yep.
The way that it was talked about, it was like, this is historic, what the U.S. and China have just agreed to do in regards to the environment.
Exactly.
Step towards Star Trek, because eventually there's going to be one set of rules for everyone on joint in this joint. We'll just stop hurting each other and let's try and feed everybody. You know, have some fun.
Right.
Go out there and fly around the stars.
Fly around the stars. Figure it out. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yep. Yep. My favorite, now that I have watched Deep Space Nine.
Oh, people keep saying this to me and I don't understand it yet.
Is it Deep Space Nine?
My own roommate keeps saying it.
Voyager?
No.
No, it is. It is.
It's Deep Space Nine. Yep.
All right.
All the experts are saying it's the best one.
See, I was very skeptical. I do not like that they don't move enough. But that's another topic.
By design. Yep. Yep.
So anyway, there's like this one where there's a leader. There's two leaders of the two factions, and one of them is like literally this 20-year-old girl. And she just happened to get her father died, etc. And she thinks she knows what her father wants, but she's very contentious at this other leader. And anyway, it has to do with the treaty over rivers and stuff, and whether it fights about the river and the territory and commerce. So,
oh God.
Anyway,
it sounds like the Klamath.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, it does. It does. But for them, it's about territory.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's like this thing where you can, to try and come to the core, to try and figure it out. Oh yeah. So Quark's son says, this actually tells her, maybe it's a opportunity in business, even if you have to give up something. It's an opportunity. If there's something that the other side wants, they will have to give it.
The kid said that?
Yes.
Oh my God. Mind blown. Thank you.
Because of the greediness of his father.
Of course.
But, he obviously knew something else besides greediness.
I think in addition to having visionaries, you have people out there warning other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were some awesome elements to the near-distant future in Cloud Atlas, but there was also a really, really awful element. Oh my God. Like, when it got to that part of the book or film, I obviously went for the film.
Yes.
It's not, I was not prepared to read that book at this time, but there's some ways in which society is functioning very well in that future, which takes place in Korea, if I'm not mistaken. But then there's something really, 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 really awful going on that people aren't talking about. And that was written down by a brilliant man in a brilliant book, and it was turned into a brilliant film, and it stands as a warning. Like, don't go there. You don't have to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting art, and I am a big supporter of it. I'm thinking about it. God, I think about Cloud Atlas all the time. I talk about it a lot. People bring it up a lot.
Yes, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it really was, and I've only seen it once.
I was about to say, it's actually a foggy dream, too, because I've only seen it once.
Oh my God. That's fine though.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it with crystal clarity. I remember the man I was with. I remember the day. I remember what the movie theater was like. I remember some of the other people in it. I remember that movie very, very well. I know exactly where I was sitting. I can tell you a lot about my experience in Cloud Atlas. It was important, and I knew it was going to be important walking into the damn thing. Blessed thing. I'm always saying the damn thing, and then the older women around me are like, why did you just damn it? And I'm like, because it was fun? I take it back. Thank you.
Well, I like that you say God bless the thing now.
Yeah, I do. I say that a lot. Like, God's blessed.
The God bless the thing. You can still say it in a cursive way.
Yeah. Loophole, la 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 la. Now I'm dancing.
But anyway, they're both about that then. Both like Deep Space Nine and Cloud Atlas.
And the presidents we've been talking about.
Yep.
George Orwell.
I was just thinking about Orwell, and I was just there's a letter from the guy who wrote Brave New World, wrote to Orwell. Fascinating stuff.
I've never heard of it. What does it say?
Fascinating stuff. It's in the back of the Brave New World book. There's some that have excess materials, and yeah, it's fascinating. He basically says that even though you make a very good case and you understand the type of pressure that these billionaires and plutocrats will be giving, even though you understand what language is and how they're going to try and destroy language, what you don't understand is that it's also going to be it's going to be more by the culture. You also don't understand they're going to try and pervert the culture around people. It's not going to be a top-down threat. Sorry to say.
Yeah, I can't stand it when people are right about things that I don't want them to be right about. God.
I think we all have that problem. That's true. That I'm guilty of in spades.
I don't want to think about that, but I will have to.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you're lucky because it's happening and you can understand it as it's unraveling.
Yep. More good. I will see more good than bad. I continually do. There's more good than bad. That's why good is winning. That's why good's gonna win.
But yeah, the biggest fight. The biggest fight that they've already had to try and pervert our culture. They've kind of already done it. Except they feel like they're in there.
Is it Christmas? Is it Black Friday?
It might actually, honestly, I have a
it's just
huge...
coming up, so that's why we're talking about
it. That's why you end up thinking about it. But I have a huge beef with Black Friday and what they end up calling Black Week and Black November.
Oh, I'm done. I am done. I am not going to buy a God other than to feed myself. I am not going to buy a God's blessed thing anywhere near the start of the holiday season. Absolutely not. I will not participate. And I won't do it. It's messed up. Making people work at 6 in the morning on Thanksgiving and telling them they will no longer have a job if they don't. Whoa. Hold your horses, you greedy bastards.
Greedy sons of bitches. To get other people in there.
Oh,
greedy sons of bitches.
I won't
to get
go.
Other people in there. And I
won't go.
Honestly, it's a really bad problem that freaking, even CNN is, flip-flopping and trending whatever.
I don't trust any news I watch on television anymore. Just save the stuff that I absolutely must watch because I agree with it politically.
Right.
If it's not a documentary, I don't want to go anywhere near it. And because I sit sometimes in places and watch the news with other people. That's a great thing to do in Boston. It's certainly history. It's certainly there's historical precedent for people getting together and talk about the news in the city of Boston. And I do that, and I see how completely commercialized 24-hour news networks are now.
Yeah.
And that they're trying to get you to think about and buy certain things. And be afraid of some things that I should not be afraid of.
Yes.
And I find it deplorable, but I have to keep track of it enough to understand what's going on in that side of the world because a ton of people consume it. And I want to know what other people are thinking about.
Exactly.
But I'll tell you what, I know a ton of kids that say to me, when I want to know what's going on, I turn on the Daily Show and the Colbert Report. Like teenagers tell me that. I watch the Daily Show. And I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Don't you dare touch Fox News or CNN. Don't you dare touch it.
And I had to wean myself off of MSNBC and come up and tell you that I'm still sometimes on MSNBC.
Well, you gotta be.
And you gotta be. But sometimes, I'm still in the nice cycle of addiction. It's cozier cycle.
It's healthier. As far as that all that goes, it's way healthier. Yeah. Mad Owl, that stout angry man. Ed, what's his name?
Yeah.
Schultz.
Good old Ed.
God bless him. And then Larry, not Larry. L, isn't it an L name? The last one, last word with
Oh,
Lawrence.
Lawrence O'Donnell.
Lawrence O'Donnell. That guy's great.
Lawrence O'Donnell's good.
He's great.
Yeah, he's really good. He's actually, he's actually a socialist.
They got a couple of sexy kids on there. The one with the glasses.
Yeah, Rowan is now one of, I think.
That black lady's pretty hot.
The black lady is very beautiful.
African American, excuse me. African American.
Very beautiful.
Melissa. Yeah, Melissa, what's her name?
She's very beautiful.
Yeah,
and
gorgeous.
And she's
and
also very smart.
Yeah. They all tend to be a lot more correct than he who shall not be named,
yes.
the Voldemort of the news, Bill O'Reilly. Every time you say his name, he gets an erection, so stop saying his name.
Yep.
Oh
my God.
But the MSNBC people are a lot more like you would just want to spend time with them.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Rowan is the youngest national TV anchor.
And I just, oh boy, good looking guy. Good looking.
I don't feel
think
that.
So?
I don't feel that way for him. I don't feel that way. I'll see him as a very attractive face that I'll think about a lot. But
I just want to put him in a sink and give him a bath.
okay.
As the expression goes, that's from 30 Rock. I'm allowed to say it, and I say it about people that are a variety of ages, sexually appropriate ages, that are really super cute. I'm like, I want to put them in the sink and give them a bath because I do. My mom's gonna listen to this. Oh, God. I'm gonna trick her into doing it, but she's gonna listen to it. Sorry, Mom.
Oh lordy.
Oh man.
Anyway. Yeah.
So I'm curious about how this winter's gonna affect my transportation because I am going to be going a lot more places a lot more often this winter than last winter, and so I'm wondering about how the winter's gonna affect the buses and the cars that I ride in.
Yeah, that's I actually have faith, not because of how we handled last winter, but there was one incredible blizzard. People from here would say it wasn't the biggest, but it was almost basically the biggest blizzard here the year that you weren't here.
No, I remember being very worried and calling.
Oh yes. So yeah, no, it was really bad and really important. But the funny thing is that even that was more. It was comforting that people came with shovels and very important things happened quickly. And so even though some of us literally were stranded in Somerville, we actually got trucks and got out quickly.
Oh yeah, you told me about how everyone banded together and just dug out.
People came, it would be regular people on the street with shovels and were digging us out, and eventually I had my own shovel, or I borrowed one from someone, and
don't be annoyed by Boston Strong. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And exactly. it not only does it just affect the people here, like it splinters out because a lot of scientists and a lot of politicians call this place their home and then teach other people, and and there's a vibe to the way that people band together here that I think should splinter off into everywhere.
Right.
And everyone does it everywhere, but they have a name for it here, and it's really, really, really palpable. It's really palpable. This is such a community.
It is.
Now, there are parts of the community that are neglected and underserved, and we definitely need to address that.
Yeah.
The neighborhood I'm going to, the region of town I'm going towards, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but, there's a lot of people suffering over there, and that needs to be addressed. But Boston Strong is a real deal, and you just constantly see people emblazoning the name and the initials of this town on the clothes they wear, and even tattooing it on their bodies. and you just Boston.
That the Red Sox is a big B. Like it could be.
Yeah.
And it is also two Red Sox, but it could have been like it could RS. It could have been. It's a freaking Boston B, and it's emboldened and really.
Everyone's wearing it.
Yeah, and
kids,
like
all races. It's on everybody.
An old woman that came into the pharmacy, she was wearing it.
Yep, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And because I literally wanted to make this episode about the weather. I'm going to tie it back to the weather. We band together over the weather a lot.
Yes.
And figuring out what to do with the weather. And helping each other in the weather.
Yep. And honestly, the trucks were good. The trucks were very good and responsible, but honestly, I could not have. I had to try and get to work a day later, a day and a half later. And honestly, I could not have done it if people had not been out with their own shovels and making it happen.
And it's not just the places where there's laws about it, because there's laws about getting snow out of the way.
Yeah.
There's also just a ton of people, it's mostly just a ton of people volunteering to make things better.
Exactly.
I'm not just talking about people getting paid to clear it. I'm talking about people like, hey, come on, let's get on this. Oh my goodness. Keep these people safe. Let's get where we need to go.
Exactly. Yeah. And there were parts I hadn't told you. You're close to my old neighborhood. There were parts where you did have to keep crossing the street. We could not have enough people to snow on both sides of the street equally.
Yep.
And so
it's not convenient.
It's not convenient, and sometimes it's really bad because it almost stands you. But
the people that own this place follow the law really rather quickly, if memory serves, and they get that snow out of the way.
But anyway, it also wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have had the cabs that could connect to the other cabs if it hadn't been for those people with their shovels.
Well, that's us talking about the weather. Touched on a few other things. World peace as usual.
Yes.
Star Trek here too.
Yes.
So warmth, happiness, well fed, or
have some gingerbread cookies and tea and spicy whatever. Hot chocolate by the fire.
Do it. If it's warm, put it in your body. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Don't. All right. There's exceptions to every rule.
Of course.
May something good come from the weather around you. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you again very soon. ChatmanBooth. Take care.